what is going on in the world right now? There's a lot of unrest in India. I mean, so many things happening for so many months, not just COVID related. And the same in the US this last entire week, I think with the Black community and a lot of unrest and very unfortunate incidents. I think we're all kind of grappling and figuring out how it is that we can respond, how we can be helpful, how we can be kind, how we can assist, I think, um, and also grow. So lots of things to think about. And for me personally, we just moved to New York. So reached New York late last night from Boston. I had been in Boston at my home for 77 days. And so, of course, I got used to it. I was really feeling a certain amount of routine at home. And suddenly coming to New York, everything was different. So I actually just set all this up. It probably looks similar on Instagram, but on Facebook, it's quite different. And this is just for today. And then tonight, I'm going to change it again and go to a new location. So, yeah, a lot of changes, lot of changes. And I have to be honest, yesterday around 2 a.m., I was still setting up, I was still having issues, and I was so frustrated. Um, I was kind of going into my good old days syndrome, which is something I think we all do, which is when change comes to us, we're not quite ready. We're trying to embrace it, but we keep thinking about how easy something was before or how familiar we were with it. It could be a relationship, it could be a job, it could be moving to a new country, it could be having your best friend move away, just changes that we're not quite willing or completely able to accept and accommodate. And so that's actually what I wanted to talk about today, about change and about what our responses are when something changes. Um, and yes, I'm in New York. I'm near Manhattan area. Um, so one of the things that struck me yesterday was I was thinking about the traffic light, the red, yellow, and green lights, and how so many times, if we are late, and I know everyone here has been late to something at some point in their lives. Some of us are compulsive people who are late, always late. Um, but when we're late, let's say you're late for a meeting at your office or a class at your school or college, or you're late for a date with your friends, you're late for a movie, you're late for a doctor's appointment. Uh, I know so many people who are late for their own weddings. So when that happens, one of the most stressful things is when we're driving or we're being driven, maybe in a taxi or with a friend, and we reach this, you're coming to this intersection in your journey, and you can see that it's green from far away. And then suddenly it turns yellow, and you're like, oh my God, okay, just go fast, do something, just make it through, because you are so afraid to get even more late. And the last thing that you want is a red light, to get stuck at a red light, right? And I've, observed people, and I've observed myself in these situations. A lot of us get fidgety, a lot of us get irritated. We'll sometimes blame the person in front of us. Oh my God, if they were driving faster, I would have gotten through this red light. Or we blame whoever was driving. And most often, if you're already late, you're already stressed, and therefore, it just agitates you. Last night, though, what I was thinking of when I was feeling really frustrated about the changes, and some of it was working, some of it wasn't. And even this morning, I was sneezing and it was helter skelter. And then I really reminded myself, okay, what am I supposed to learn out of this situation? And how can I adapt to this entire change in a more elegant way? And how can I adapt to this change without upsetting other people around me? And also making the best of it, realizing that sometimes we have an intention, but it's only the intention in our head and not in everybody else's head, so it's probably just going to be fine. And then going back to the idea of the traffic lights, the green, yellow and red, I thought of something. What in our lives, or where in our lives do we have a green light, and maybe we're not just going forward? Where are we stopping ourselves because of self-doubt or fear, or you know worry of the unknown, whereas actually we have a green light? Maybe it's a project, maybe it's a new friendship, maybe it's an opportunity that is actually right here waiting for you, and you're unable or unwilling to take that plunge and just go with the green signal. And similarly, where in our lives is it a yellow light? And what does that yellow light mean? I mean, in traffic, it often means proceed, but proceed with caution. And in terms of how we take that directive in our lives, is it to slow down in something in our lives? Is it to be aware? Is it to notice what's happening around us, just like you would in traffic? Is it also to notice our own reactions, our own needs, and share them with others? For instance, as you're driving, if someone in front of you slows down, you have to slow down. And sometimes this happens in our families, in our companies, in our teams, that you kind of are still in the green go ahead mode, but actually in your life, everything surrounding you is actually in yellow. And it's just a moment for you to calm down and keep proceeding, not with fear, but just with awareness. So, what in our lives might we have to slow down as things are changing around us, as circumstances, as people, and as we are evolving, changing, requiring different things, requiring to adapt to something new, or just even being aware that change is about to come. And if we don't slow down, it might be more detrimental to us in the long run. Change can continue to happen even in that phase, just step by step. And then, if we come to the red light, what in our lives is actually a message, or a moment that we might have to stop, that we might have to just wait, that we might need to accept that, what, it is what it is. This is a red light. And if you're somebody who follows traffic rules, it's time to stop, to also avoid an accident with someone else, or some sort of unnecessary outcome that maybe is worse than if you just took the time to stop, reassess, recharge, observe, maybe ask questions, maybe see what's happening around you, and realize that maybe it's even time to take stock of the situation. You know, yes, I love what Krishanodas said. The red light is important in our lives. We must stop at some point, maybe due to any reason, to introspect, to reduce a competitive approach, to reduce destruction. That's beautiful. Yeah, and Raghu said the fermata idea. Yes, fermata is a musical term when you sort of pause. You know the music doesn't necessarily stop unless the fermata is on a rest, but you usually slow down, you pause, you linger for a little bit. And I love that idea that I guess the lingering could be a yellow or a red situation. So where is it that we need to just stop and wait and accept that, okay, maybe we need to grow, maybe we need to gain some new knowledge or insight before taking a step forward. That is what this moment of change is requiring of us. That will be most helpful, not only to us, but maybe to everybody around us. And there's one more traffic related lesson that I think is so interesting and so important for us to be able to use in our lives. And I'm wondering if you're going to be able to guess this. It's detours, right? How many times is there a roadblock? And just because there's a roadblock in, the path that you're taking, most people are not going to say, "Oh, oops, I guess that's all. We can't do anything." We just will not go for this doctor's appointment because there's absolutely no way for us to get there. Of course, there may be situations like that, right? But in most cases, if there's a detour, you either know a different route in your mind, or you're able to look up on GPS and find a different way to get to where you want to be. And the idea of detours in our life is also that maybe it's life telling us we can't get too attached to just one plan or one strategy, and that maybe it's time to think of a plan B and a plan C, and something else might be waiting for us because of the detour. I found that when I was living in Delhi, there were a lot of times when a flyover would be constructed and be delayed and taking time to get built. And during that time, the police and the traffic uh, department would figure out new routes for people to take to get from one place to another. And I found that it always helped me to explore a new part of the city. And the same way, in any city that you live in, it actually it just helps you see new things that maybe you wouldn't have otherwise. So all that to say that maybe the traffic signals in our day-to-day life are there for us to notice and observe and to check in with ourselves. And I felt that is the lesson also for me today in this new surrounding, coming to New York, having to kind of, break everything down from Boston, bring it here, reset, find a new way. And maybe it's just time to reassess and try new things, take a detour, attempt a different point of view or a different method, I think, to try things. So, anyway, that's why I'm super excited that you could join me today on our 51st session of Keeping It Light. And I'm so excited by this new experiment with color and text on Facebook, at least. And before we end, let's do a little bit of breathing. And really, as we inhale and exhale, just think about where in our lives should we go forward? Where do we need to pause or proceed with more awareness? And where might we just have to wait? Waiting does not mean that you're not progressing. It simply means you're waiting for more information. You are reassessing, recharging, re energizing. And once you have your answer, you can move forward, right? So 2 more times, just breathing in and exhaling. And one last time, inhaling and exhaling, reminding ourselves that practicing patience while we wait at a red light, at any sort of obstacle, as we face detours in our lives, or even messages that we might need to slow down. Practicing patience while we do that, and practicing the art of adapting as many times as we can, because actually that makes us stronger, able to evolve faster, able to apply new strategies, new ideas to any situation faster. Adaptability is also a muscle. So the next time you're stuck at a traffic light, once lockdown ends, maybe we'll be so grateful for traffic lights. All right, beautiful. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I wish you a beautiful week ahead and a day or an evening when you take stock. I'll see you tomorrow from a different set, but definitely with the new logo. And do send me your feedback. I'd love to know if this was working for you. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.